Story extends. Yeah. Names carved deep in the brick and stone. Every block legend built their throne. No crowns given, we take our claim. Every street corner still knows the name. Legends don't fade, they echo and still. Concrete remembers what the papers conceal. This is the anthem, the fire, the pledge. Stories of the block live on the edge. Names carved deep in the brick and stone. Every block legend built their throne. No crowns given, we take our claim. Every street corner still knows the name. Legends don't fade, they echo and still. Concrete remembers what the papers conceal. This is the anthem, the fire, the pledge. Stories of the block live on the edge. Footsteps heavy like drums on the pavement. History bleeds through abandoned basements. Every mural's a chapter, every crack's a scar. Legends written louder than the engines of cars. Eyes in the shadows, whispers in code. Respect is the language on this narrow road. Chains rush slowly, but the spirit won't break. Power in the silence and the moves we make. No statues raised, just candles and chalk.
Good evening, Nero Barrow.
On the block, from dusk to dawn, the mist still ascends. Black legends never die, the story extends. Names carved deep in the brick and stone. Every block legend built that throne. No crowns given, we take our claim. Every street corner still knows the name. Legends don't fade, they echo and still. Concrete remembers what papers conceal. This is the anthem, the fire, the pledge. Stories of the block live on the edge.
Yes, good evening, y'all. Doggone it, good evening. I wasn't going to come on here tonight, but you know what? I just had an interesting conversation over there at Pizza's, y'all. And if y'all at Pizza, sorry you had to take it down. But like I said, young people don't have no respect. You know, when information is given to you and it doesn't inform, I don't care about it. You know, I don't care about it. Today was a somber day for me because, like I said, Jesse Jackson's funeral was today. But there was an interesting conversation over on Pizarro's platform, the spaceship, as you guys know. They were talking about sororities and everything else. But, you know, I left, and like everybody else, I'll leave and come back. And then the same people were up there talking. And I listened to a young man, 33 years old. He had been controlling the panel and controlling what was going on over there at Pizza's. And I just want to say that, Pizza, for the job that you've done, well done for you, but still, we got to have a little bit more control. I was sorry. I'm sorry that I said the word murder. I can say it on my platform, okay? He talks about being 33 in the military. Young man, you are not really in the military. You're a military liaison. You're a person that does same behind the work, and you probably have a government computer. That's why you're so able to get up there and find people and talk about them and dox them on YouTube. You see what I'm saying? You do those things that if the government really knew what you were doing, unless you're a CIA operative, and we know you're not that, you would be out of a job. Now, you don't care. It seems like to me, at 33, like I said, you're old enough to be my grandson, and I really wouldn't want to adopt you as my grandson because I would probably have to whip your ass every day for disrespecting me like you did. And you're a young man. So I'm not going to be as lenient with you as I am with the ladies on here because you're a man. You're supposed to be a man, but you're bitching all the time about shit, and you're talking about black women as if they're not informed, they're not informative, and you try to spin the narrative today. You tried to spin a narrative that it's all right for the brotherhood, as you call it. The brotherhood? What do you mean? You know where we get that word brotherhood from? Do you realize where the brotherhood actually came from? Long before we became black people, black Americans, we were Negroes, we were the N-word. I'll say it, niggers on the page. This is my platform. We were niggers to the white folks. The brotherhood came from the Aryans, Aryan nation. the Aryan Nation, which is what KKK, if you want to call them, people that the Night Riders, all that good stuff. You don't want to know about history. You don't want to know about when your grandpa or grandma had to stand in back of the bus or couldn't drink out of the same water fountain. Where were you at? Where were you born? How did you get over there? All those things that you're able to do now as a young black man came off of the backs of people like me who march for civil rights, who march for a better education, who march for women's equality, and also the gay right, being prideful. There was a thing in the military, don't ask, don't tell. I was there during the early 60s. Don't ask, don't tell. But like this woman said, once they found out, her nephew or whoever he was, any man that once they found out that you were different as far as sexual preferences are concerned, they ousted you out of the military. They gave you a dishonorable discharge because during that time of thinking and everything else, it was always been and will always be the white man's army. You were dishonorably discharged. But some of them same guys that were gay, they were given an other than honorable discharge. So you know what that means? They can get their benefits. The same black guys that couldn't get their benefits, the white guys could get their benefits. Let's do some history. Let's have a history lesson. To you, Resto, 33-year-old, don't know shit, ain't still wet behind the fucking ears. Just because you got a platform or a channel don't mean a damn thing. And like I said, you probably got a government office desk job in the military. That's why you're able to dox people. Once again, like I said, I'm not afraid to say it. Everybody else is afraid of you, but I don't give a fuck. Now, you don't play me. You can't disrespect me, especially when I have done things in my life that I know that has brought black people into the forefront, such as marching, such as getting my head split during a march, going to a school, sit-ins where they didn't have any black history. I sat in my school and had a protest as a young man, got suspended for it. It didn't deter me from getting my education either. But you're not going to sit up here and try to think just because you're 33, you can disrespect me. Young boy, fuck you. I will whip your ass like you stole something from me. I mean that. You want to start a beef, goddammit, we can start one. You didn't want to agree with ZX, but yet you want to sit up and talk about him behind his back. Man, to see young people like you today, I hope you get to be my age, even ZX's age, as far as that goes, because that's a long way. 30 years from now, ain't no telling where the fuck you might be at. You can't, if you can't see the past, you definitely cannot see your future, because the past has taught black men to be diligent. They taught black men to care. They taught black men to be able to survive. You haven't survived yet. You've been sitting under the auspices of those that have taken care of you through, as you want to say, the military. But to get out and work an 8-hour-a-day job at a factory or even at farming or even just driving a school bus, you want to berate or below people like that? Young man, you got a lot to learn. And once again, y'all, Pizza had a wonderful, wonderful discussion. But the only thing, like I said, I turn it off when people get up there. Everybody wants to speak ahead of everybody. Everybody wants to be the biggest boomer on the fucking microphone. We've lost that respect. We lost that years and years and years ago. To be able to sit down and have discussions, have a debate, put a timer on. Some people have come in and cut a person off and they ain't even through yet talking. It would have been good if we as black people would learn to sit back and quit just because somebody is different than us or have a different opinion. We shouldn't be name calling. You know, Tulsa, I don't agree with a lot of shit you do and a lot of shit you say, but I guarantee you I appreciate your right to say it. And for people to come in, and you're just as bad now, they want to say something, then you interrupt. Interruption takes away from the real problems that we have, the things that we're talking about. I don't give a damn if you're a 33rd Mason or how long you've been. It was supposed to have been about the sororities and what it means far as Greek mythology and all that bullshit goes. Everybody wanted to come up there with something different. And the UZX, I'm going to say to you, for an older guy, you don't have the patience of Job. You say you read the Bible? You don't have the patience of Job. You can't wait till somebody finishes. But just like I said, you want to get your point out, and then you want to control the conversation. You don't control anything. You say what you have to say in 2 minutes and forgive about it. Forget it. Because they're going to come back at you with bullshit that's been going on YouTube for years and years past. We're talking about the now and the present. Nobody wants to hear about the past. So let's talk about what you're going to do in the future as Black people on here. Hello, love. Glad to see you here, my dear. Thank you. You know, it bothers me, being old as I am, that I have to get up here and argue with young people too. That's another thing. God damn it. I would got hit in my mouth arguing with the older person about stupid shit. Something that really, people don't care no more. I'll put it that way. It's all, they talk about generations, gaps and all that. There was a me generation, there was a my generation, there was a our generation, there was a us generation, and a we generation. I don't want to call young people dumb. There are some brilliant young people out here in society. But I will say though that they have sense enough not to get up here and do the dumb fucked up shit that some of these young people do. Okay? There are young people out there. Hello, Room Shaker. Thank you, dear. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. There are some young people on here that do have great ideas. But if we find out, say that young person is gay, then we want to talk about them. We don't want to, the idea is going out the window. We don't want to sit up and listen to a person that can tell you the ins and outs of getting in and out of society, what society requires of you as a Black person. Like I said, I sat up here and I watched the funeral of Jesse Jackson today. And it took me way back to memories. His marches. I can remember him being in Cairo, Illinois. I can remember him being in Chicago as a young man, striving and trying to get Black people to see that we have the power. He said, I am somebody. And when people forget that they are somebody, especially Black people, when we forget that we are somebody, then we try to prove things that no one will understand, because you don't have any pride and self-awareness for the other Black person. We get up here and we call each other foul and despicable names, and I do it too, but I do it now because I see that's what they love. That's the way they feel. That's the way they were brought up, to hate. 33 years old, young man, and you want to talk shit to me when it was me that enabled you to be able to go to school, to be able to vote, be able to even get into the damn military even. So your disrespect to me, I'm going to start disrespecting you, because I don't know how many years I have left, but I'm not going to let anybody turn me around, as the old saying goes. Do you remember that marching song? Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. No, they weren't turning me around when it came to the rights to vote. I am somebody when it comes to voicing my opinion about how the government is treating us. And I'm going to keep hope alive long as I'm able to get on here and tell you that there are plenty of Black people that sacrifice for your young ass to get to where you are today. So don't try to degrade me. You can dox and all the fucking shit you want to do. But let me tell you, Laws of doctrine are coming up on the books because these white folks, y'all doctrine white folks too in high places, and they getting tired of it. Your same congressmen, your same senators, your judges, and all that. YouTube is going to make a bigger change that you know of, that you don't even know of. Now, they don't mind us getting on here cussing each other out, calling us a bunch of Ians, little monkeys, hanging little babies from or dowels, black dowels, especially with a noose behind. They don't mind that shit because they've been doing that shit for years, for centuries, even before your ass was even able to join the military. So don't sit up here and tell me you're not interested in the past, because the past is what's molding this country today. And now everything is not right about it. I speak out entirely about integration. They never should have integrated our schools, because we did have black teachers, college professors even, that taught black kids their responsibility as being a black person, even though they had to use the white books that were published. They left out a lot of black history in black books back then in the 50s, the 60s, the 40s, the 30s. As you can go back as far as you want to go. But you had black people that were able to find out information, give you the good and true information, not to sit up here and to say that you're not worth anything. Hello, I'm Brown. Thank you, dear, for joining me. Thank you so much. That kind of information. And for you to be 33 years old and tell me you don't give a shit, you don't care about nobody but yourself. Man, oh man, I don't know. Thank you for stopping by too, Alvin Brown. I put you up there and didn't read your stuff, but thank you, my dear. But I'm just getting tired as an old man on here on YouTube, one of the oldest, I ain't gonna say official content creators on here, but one of the oldest content creators that listen to young people on here. And when they try to have a great discussion, some of these old ass fuckers come up here and derail it. And then some of these young people come over here and derail it. We're never going to get anywhere as a black people on here or in this country, period. We're never going to get that way. And when this little clown did what he did to me over on Pizza and Pizza at the end of live, yeah, I said the word murder, but I'm on my platform. I'm sorry, because he talked about how many heads he done chopped off over there. So I said that makes you a mass murderer. You see what I'm saying? How can a young man at 33 sit up and be proud of killing people? For what? Even people that came back from war were not proud of killing. They were ashamed. That's why you have so many of our military guys in hospitals, in psych wards, because number one, the country failed them when they came back. There was no thank you from a lot of people, especially during the Vietnam era. There was no thank you from the people. They called the young men, black and white, that was in the war, baby killers. You know what I'm saying? So, it's crazy. And thank you for speaking to. Hey, Lagale, I'm Brown spoke to you. Thank you, guys. Yeah, y'all continue in the chat talking to each other and being good, because, like I said, you're right. I'm Brown. I had to get off my chest. I had to get it off my chest, because to have a young man come up here and then just totally disrespect me, just because I asked him something, this world, I'm going to say this country of a world is going to shit in the handbag. It's going to shit in the handbag. And as far as I'm concerned, people like Rusto, he don't need to be up here. He don't need to be up here with me. I'll listen to him and then I'll make a commentary just like I do anybody else. I'm going to start making commentary. But one thing I do want to say is, Pizza, thank you for trying to inform these black folks. Thank you for trying to make them have a discussion, something that we don't seem to be able to have at all. It just amazes me You're on an apparatus that you have and don't have free speech on. I'll put it that way. There's certain words that you can't say, certain things that you can't do. You know, that's inhibiting you as a black person to even talk, because we don't talk like that in the real world. You see what I'm saying? Certain words we use out there, but we can't use them because of, number one, we're getting paid not to say it. I'll put it that we're definitely getting paid not to say a lot of things. But I'm not paid. Pizza's not paid. And there's a couple other channels that's not paid. I listened to Dee Dee Love the other day. Very informative young black lady. Very informative. Do I agree with a lot of things she says? No. But the things she says makes common sense. And that's what I'm saying. When we have panels on here as black people, we should have common sense and the decency enough to let that person finish, to be able to get their thought process out without all the so many interruptions. Everybody wants to be heard, but nobody wants to be seen. I can sit up there all day. You can look at me all day. But until I got something to say, I'll let you say what you got to say. And then when you ask me what I got to say, I don't expect any interruptions. I don't expect, especially a 33-year-old, to jump out there and say some stupid ass shit like that was in the past. History is what made us. And history will always continue to shape the way things are to come. So with that being said, I'm going to get the hell off of here. I'm going to go back up on YouTube. I might do music later on. I don't know. Just to ease my state of mind. But I'm not going to let nobody anymore tell me that I don't have the right to talk about the past, or I don't have the right to bring up the past, when the past is what got your ass on here to be able to talk to people and say things out of the ordinary. No fact, just fiction. Because as far as I'm concerned, everything that's done on here is done for malicious purposes. Nobody cares anymore about anybody. With that being said, God bless you guys, and just take care. Just take care.